Good evening and welcome to our final competition of the GDX4 finals. In just a few seconds, we are going to hear our final four from the Athenaeum. The Athenaeum, for those of you watching and just rejoining our presentation today, welcome. To those of you streaming, thank you so much for our sponsors. So you can see here, we had four wonderful universities supporting our work this year: St. Mary's, Sewanee University of the South, Berkeley, the University of California, Berkeley, Motivos Magazine, Phi Alpha Fraternity, and of course, our title sponsor for the second year making this possible. What we are going to be hearing is from four Athenaeum teams. Now, the Athenaeum, for those of you new to the GDX and new to the great debate of the last few years, Athenaeum is a team competition that all of the students participate in. After the first four preliminary rounds, all of the students, their regional teams are broken down and they rebuild new cross-generational teams. So there were teams that had students from El Paso, had students from New York, had students from San Diego, students from Mexico, Panama, and together they're given less than a day to respond to a challenge. And their challenge was that they have to develop a media campaign to promote a new vision, a new identity of Latinidad for the future. And so these students got together over the last two nights, and now they are ready to present. These were the four students of all of the teams that involved all of the great debate competitors. These four teams were the teams that ended up advancing. And so in just one moment, I'm going to announce their names. We are going to hear from four, what are called four pods, four small teams. Our first presenting team will be the team from, we have two houses. The students were divided in half into house Magnolia representing that local community that Ernesto Nieto, our founder, and his family grew up in, spent parks. His parents worked in Magnolia in Houston. And I think that when you read it and hear about Magnolia, it's very, very similar to a lot of communities that a lot of us grew up in. The other house was representing House Maxwell, which is where I am here. You can't see it with my background, but I'm actually in that house on the hill that you read about in your book preparing for this. I'm in the NHI mansion here. And so to represent House Maxwell, our first team up is House Maxwell Pod 2, which is the team of Lila Navale, Fernanda Cabrera, Sofia Espinosa from El Paso, Camila Espinosa from Mexico, Camila Rebata from Mexico, Iofi Pedden from North Texas, and Lila Navale from Corpus Christi, and Fernanda Cabrera from Coast to Coast. And so with that, which of the students are going to be representing their pod or need screen sharing? The floor is yours.
Hi, we're from Pod 2 from the Maxwell House, and we will present our project FAR, created by all of us: Camila Espinosa Maria, Camila Rivata Varellas, Fernanda Cabrera, Sofia Espinosa, Aoife Pedden, and Lila Naval. Here's an overview of our FAR initiative. If we could play the video, please.
I'm sorry, but I believe the audio in our video is not, well, I can't actually hear it well.
You're good to go. We hear you and we see your presentation.
Oh, okay then, thanks.
If there's audio to your presentation, you might have to unmute, restart, and reshare, and make sure that the sound button is clicked. When you share the screen, make sure in the bottom left that the share sound button is also clicked.
All right, now in order to continue with our presentation, we're actually going to be using a presentation. Just give us a minute.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. So that was what we are about, what 2045 FAR is about, what we want, inspiring people to reach far, as well as to progress towards equity and equality for Latina women. Over here, next slide, please. Okay, so over here, you can see the overview of our Instagram account, main page, and one of our posts. And for the next thing, let's move on to our individual goals.
So we want more Hispanic women in positions of power, equal representation, and we're also trying to get less stereotypes according to gender and race.
We also seek to have a decrease in hate crimes towards women, specifically stuff such as femicide. Next one, please. We're also looking for the safety for women around the world, as well as women empowerment. And last but not least, we also want to help to get rid of the pink tax and help make feminine products more affordable and accessible. If you didn't know, the pink tax is actually a type of tax that, the taxes feminine products, specifically hygiene products, such as, continuing. When beginning to create this campaign, our team members' creativity and focus was mainly directed to a similar issue all of us face, as women and people tied to the Latina community. Throughout the campaign, we were all passionate and focused on the message we are now trying to convey to their audiences. We recognize that achieving a feat such as equality for Latino women is not an easy one that can be achieved with only one group or one big accomplishment. Yet, now we strive to make great progress towards it, and your support can help us get there. Now,
Gracias.
Thank you for your support.
Gracias por escuchar.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. Congratulations to you. And next up, we'll immediately following, we will hear from our house, Magnolia Pod 1, the team of Sojun Kim from Corpus Christi, Ernesto Revilla from Coast to Coast, Luis Enrique Cepeda Rodriguez from El Paso, Aníbal Alcocer and Sofia Avila, both from Mexico, and Kaylee Helms from Team North Texas. The floor is yours. And so team one, when you're ready, you should be able to share screen, or whoever's going to be the speaker, you can start speaking and the spotlight will capture you.
Okay. Hello, everyone in HI and watching us at home. We are very happy to show you our new initiative that we have started, which is investing in our youth, building a foundation for our future generation. We believe that young generations lead to our future, making it necessary to ensure that they have access to the resources and opportunities that can build useful traits and skills. These traits and skills aid them in becoming successful leaders of our Latino community. Our vision is to expand our assets within the Latino community and encourage progress, therefore creating a better environment for young Latinos and allowing them to progress into even greater and more influential leaders. We believe that filling in the gaps of the limited opportunities for the Latino youth and their education will allow for more representation and impactfulness of our future Latino leaders globally. Our group will create this opportunity and motivate change within and outside of the Latino community.
Our goal is to use Instagram stories and other social media outlets to promote tools that will produce a path to a successful future for young Latinx generations, and to construct a detailed plan for inducing change within the community using direct feedback from the Latinx youth. As Ernesto Nieto said, the Latino community needed answers not next year, not next month, not next week. Solutions were needed now. We believe that social media is the best way to expand our outreach and demographic, as it is an easily accessible platform for us to convey our message to a wide range of people. It is a way to spread Latinx culture and influence to numerous communities throughout the world, opening up more opportunities for Latinx leaders to stand under the spotlight and further encourage others to join the effort in taking the Latinx community forward. An important feature of our social media campaign is the active engagement of members of the Latinx community in giving suggestions and proposing plans for the improvement of their community. Allowing individuals to input advice for their personal experiences will allow our group to focus on details that are actually relevant to the community. Here we see suggestions that have been presented to us through the use of the Q&A feature on Instagram. Our group is especially emphasizing the STEM field. Currently, Latinos are massively underrepresented in this area, as we can see in this statistic. We would like to incorporate more STEM-related programs in the youth Latino community in order to open numerous positions for successful jobs. In the future, we believe that these new programs will give Latino youth a powerful push forward. Fundamental number 2 and 11. Fundamental number 2 states to treasure, protect, and promote our legacy. And Fundamental 11 urges to forecast and anticipate. With our social media campaigns, we believe that our community will be able to implement these fundamentals deeper into our community. Our goal is to use.
As a group, we can make the promise to you that we will put in the effort to encourage progress within the community. We will build a strong foundation for our future generations, and we will promote community equity building throughout our work as NHI members. We strongly believe that we are your best option for a group that will develop effective leaders of the future and uphold the values of the National Hispanic Institute. Now, while we give our final statements, we ask that if you take away one thing from our message today, it be this. The 24th fundamental of NHI, create the opportunity. Be the leader who envisions new opportunities that inspire and engage others to get involved. We, as an institution and community, have the ability to open up opportunities for the future. So let's work together and achieve this goal. You can be part of this change by following us in our progress on our Instagram at investing_in_our youth_. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. And now we will continue with our third team from House Maxwell, Pod 5, Leslie Conriquez from Coast to Coast, Genevieve Cermeño from El Paso, Jenna Muriel from the Midwest Heartland team, Alex Houston of the Midwest Colorado Heartland team, and Hector Reyes and Angela Lopez from Mexico. House Maxwell Pod 5, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon and feel very welcome, but let's proceed. We shatter the walls. So a partner is off, but I continue. The current state of the Latino community. What is the current state of us? What have been the problems we face as a community? Well, through all our past, and as my partner can continue, Gina, please.
In this picture here, this is a woman, a Mexican woman being hung for crimes that she did not commit and were never fully proven. She was not given a fair trial, all because she was a Mexican woman. And this describes the trials and tribulations that Hispanic people have had to experience in America since a very long time. Latinos also have a higher poverty rate than the nation as a whole. This is spanning from youth, so children are dealing with this, all the way to, being older in age, so elders as well. Next slide, please. Not just with poverty, Latinos are also extremely underrepresented in Congress. In the graph shown in the presentation, all of those purple dots are people in Congress who are white. The very few red dots are people in Congress who happen to be Hispanic. Less than 10% of people in Congress are Hispanic. Latinos are not just underrepresented in Congress, but also in film. Only 4.5% of Latinos receive gigs. They receive the lowest out of every single ethnicity.
John F. Kennedy once said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." We think that we're doing this for the country, not just for the betterment of it, but the betterment of all other underrepresented minorities.
So what's our real mission? What do we want to do and accomplish as an organization? Well, by 2050, we want a Latino president. A lot of ethnic groups, the African American, for example, has had its Latino president, has had its Barack Obama. But we as Latinos, we don't have any Latino representation whatsoever in the presidency, and as we already mentioned, in Congress. Another very important point we want to really mark our focus on is integration of minority groups inside and outside our Latino community. We know that many little minorities inside our Latino community, such as Afro-Latins, have not been represented as well as they should have been. They have not the same respect or the same ideas as other Latino members in our community. But also, we should help other minorities that are going through the same things we're going as well. We should help African Americans, we should help Asians and any other ethnic group inside any other foreign country. And last, we want to increment the Latino representation in entrepreneurship, since it's a big way and a big important way of Latino increment in economical status. And it sadly is the way the world we live in is moving forward. Sorry. So the integration, what is integration? Well, as I already mentioned, the integration mainly will become the union between African Americans, Native Americans, Native Hawaiians, Pacific Islanders, with all other ethnic groups. We want to promote integration, to be a community of underrepresented, not a community of Latinos, to be a group of change, to be a group of fighters, that we all come together as people who don't have the rights they deserve, who don't have the opportunities they should have, but sadly they don't. So how are we going to get there? How are we going to even accomplish this? Because we can say anything we want, but if we don't have a plan, it won't work. So let's start by social media with my partner.
We're planning on inspiring the rest of the Latinx community through social media. Our Instagram was created by Jenna, one of the people in our pod. Our Twitter was created by Hector, another person, and our TikTok account was created by me. So we're planning on inspiring them through learning through leaders that have already created change, like Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez and Sonia Sotomayor.
So basically in the world we live in, surrounded by social media, where the big important decisions are being made in these platforms. The big important decisions, such as even the rate of Bitcoin, for God's sake, when Elon Musk makes a tweet, the world changes. So we want to be part of that as well. Another thing we want to really remark is the use of digital art. As we know, art, murals, for example, Mexican examples, Diego Rivera, who his work has retained and maintained even at the highest rates of art. Because art is the only legacy, the only things that will remain when we are gone. It's our things where we can promote our ideas and the way we think, where we can reflect the things we're thinking and the actions that we are going to make. So also we need to remark the use of web pages, since if someone else wants to contact us or use the information we need or we have, they can go to shatterthewalls.org to find more information about this movement.
And on that note, we'd like to thank you for your time. And with your help, little by little, you and I and everyone else will be able to shatter the walls. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your ideas, for your contributions, and for moving this conversation forward. And so now, those of you watching, we're going to hear from our fourth and final Athenaeum team. These teams that you've been hearing from the last few moments are teams that are comprised of students from all these different regions. They formed a team, about 24 hours ago. They started working on these presentations, and these were the four teams that ascended. And our fourth and final pod that will be presenting to us from House Magnolia Pod 8, which are the members Alexa Hato from Coast to Coast, Sarah Gathers from El Paso, Mia Palacio and Maro Castro from Mexico, and Adiel Flores from North Texas. And so with that, the floor is yours for our final Athenaeum presentation of the tournament.
The future that we envision and want to uphold is a place where anyone can embrace themselves and be who they are without being judged and feel like others around them won't accept them to be. In our project, we are trying to make a new social narrative for the Latino community. We decided to name ourselves Embrace and Open Arms. We did this because we want to see a future with values that we want as our core creation, like inclusivity, acceptance, and open-mindedness, while also having lots of options and opportunities for individuals, all while embracing each other. With technology, we see a new future to change our present and past to give new meaning to oncoming generations. Now, onto our video where we explain our media campaign and how we will make our vision a reality.
Technology is a huge part of our generation, and as time goes on, technology is becoming essential in our daily lives. Technology is not only advancing, but adapting to us as a population. Within technology, many know there are different branches within this noun, like games, apps, and so on. A branch that would be considered a major part of people would be social media. Social media is an interactive technology that allows the production or sharing, exchanging of information, ideas, interests, and other kinds of expressions within virtual communities and networks. In our project, we want to not only invest, but create a new future for ourselves within the Latino, Latina, Latinx by using the values of inclusivity, acceptance, and open-mindedness, all while having lots of options and embracing it with others. We want to see a future with people always being positive and accepting of each other. Knowing that we want these values and characteristics in our future for the Latino community, we decided to use the branch of technology everyone uses, social media. Within social media, we decided that we will use a specific app to spread awareness and our message. That app is Instagram. Instagram is not only an app that can be used on many platforms, it's also used by 503 million people. Knowing it's a well-known app, we can easily launch a media campaign that will be known. As we made our account on Instagram, we concluded that a way our message can be known throughout individuals in the app is through associating events that people can relate to. An example of that would be not being accepted because they're a minority, or they are not accepted for who they are or what they love. It is known that people of color, whether it's brown or black, have always had a hard time fitting in and being accepted. We have seen it through movements, boycotts, and marches. With knowing this, we can make a trend through reels, highlights, or posts of people telling their story about the events they have gone through and speak about what they wish would have happened differently to illustrate to others about the difference we can make in our words and actions to set a positive change for our future to overcome negativity. Our media campaign will be the most effective manner of promoting our vision because we are not only using technology, but stories of real people with feelings, emotions, and hearts. If we use our media campaign, we will make a huge impact on future generations of the values and characteristics that we are spreading to have the future we envision. Thank you.
Our goal is to create a future where everyone is accepted and respected for who they are and what they strive to be. Throughout our lives, we have been judged when being ourselves. As NHIers, we became conscious of the significance of being proud of our Latino heritage, and that's what our project is about. We want to raise awareness and spread the message of the importance of embracing our diversity and respecting our differences. As Fundamental 25 states, approach people with humility and courage. As Latinos, we have to work together in complete unity and respect to achieve an inclusive community, not only for us, but also for the future generations who deserve to grow, to be proud of themselves. We invite you to open up your phone and follow our Instagram at ICI_embrace to keep in touch with our idea and to keep educating and growing to become the best versions of yourself. Thank you very much.
That's it. Those were our top 4 Athenaeum teams, and let's all give them a virtual round of applause. I want to see the applause there in the Zoom room. See the applause start to turn up, seeing the chat light up. Congratulations so much for your work. Again, these students, they just started working on this last night. They just formed teams yesterday afternoon. So these are the top 4 teams that came up with their presentation. So congratulations to everything you accomplished. So we're not done, and we're actually going to stay logged in. We're going to stay live stream. I know that the tournament staff is going to quickly work to tabulate the scores. Thank you to our finals judges. We're going to recognize you in just a moment, but I know they're going to put in their quick tabulations and get the results tabulated. Before that, I want to remind you, and we mentioned it earlier, and some of you mentioned some individuals. You've talked a lot about the book. You've used it in your topics, and we know that the book talks a lot of the story of the origins of what comes next. The Lorenzo de Zavala Youth Legislative Session, and actually this summer, in about 2 weeks, we will premiere LDZX, our first digital evolution of this experience, our flagship program. Right now in Sherman, Texas, about 4 or 5 hours north here of Maxwell, and about 2 hours towards the west in the Pacific time zone at the University of San Diego. There's a delegation of students. Right now, there are 300 sophomores and juniors that are beginning the next step in the NHI journey, the Lorenzo de Zavala Youth Legislative Session. If you enjoyed GDX, you like these debates, you like the exchange, and more so, if you enjoyed, and I know a lot of you enjoyed Athenaeum working with all these different groups and regions, that's exactly what the LDZ will do. So the Athenaeum in many ways is kind of an appetizer of what you can expect in an 8-day experience. I'm actually not going to talk about it anymore. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a brief video of what you can expect next summer, and we do hope and look forward to being in person. In fact, at some of these universities that you see here right behind me are ready and eager to invite us to their campus and be back in person for our LDZ flagship. So I'm going to play you a short video with some information about the LDZ. And when we return, we're going to get right into our words, and we are going to hear who is going to win the GDX4. And so with that, we're going to take our brief little LDZ intermission, and then we're going to keep moving forward.
Essentially, in 1979, July specifically, this organization was formally structured.
It was completely transformational, self-affirming, and it was the foundation of the success that I had in college and throughout my professional career.
It was the times in between that I remember so much. I remember the thrill of the legislative session and learning about that, and whether you cared about or acted like you you didn't about that. You got so drawn in because you got passionate about the issues. And who are you to say that I don't know who I am? Or, you know, and learning to really, what do I stand for? What are my boundaries? What is my value?
What was so special about my LDZ experience was that I was really good at not getting discouraged. You know, sometimes I feel like I can even learn, like me present day can learn from me back then, 15-year-old me, because losing so much just didn't faze me in my LDZ. I think, you know, a lot of it in that experience probably went back to that attitude of like, okay, well, this is not working, let's adapt. Okay, this is not working, without, you know, getting demoralized. And so, you know, I think that was pretty cool of 15-year-old me.
For nearly 4 decades, the Latino community's top youth have assembled to become 21st century community leaders. Historically, borders and distances limited participation, but now, with technology, we have unlimited opportunities to bring together students from everywhere. In a historic, interactive, live peer-to-peer space, 200 bright young pioneers will log in to build community and lifetime friends in a virtual space known as the LDZX program. Applications to enroll will be available in the near future. An evolution of the National Hispanic Institute's Lorenzo de Zavala Youth Legislative Session. LDZX launches a virtual world. Here, you'll help organize an online community that proposes and shapes policies for the future. With delegates logging in from over 25 locales, you will meet future leaders, create common interest groups, host elections, write community policy, and legislate in a live interactive space. To accomplish your community mission, you'll use global conferencing platforms, web-based campaigns, social media, and much more. The LDZX blows away the leadership barriers of the past, inviting students from a broad range of geographic areas. Most important, take away friends who will forever remain part of your NHI family. Join LDZX and go from delegate to governor, to senator, to Supreme Court justice, and many more roles. Log in as a single town rep and leave with a network of 200 friends that will be in your digital address book for decades. A game for people who want to be relevant in their communities and influence outcomes. The LDZX is a place to practice your leadership skills and expand your network for life.
So that was a little preview of next year, our flagship next level leadership game. It's a week-long experience. Again, you saw some of the sites, and we look forward to all of you having the opportunity to participate. And so with that, we're going to get started and move on directly into our finals presentation. We're not going to take a break. We're going to push on through because the results are being tabulated as we speak. But first, before we go any further, we want to make sure that we take a moment. Hold on a second, I lost my slideshow here. While I get that set up, we want to, all week we've been thanking some individuals who are made this experience possible, some with resources, some with making different connections, some with, you know, helping out with the technology. There were some individuals that sponsored students with tuition. And NHI, especially in the last 2 years, this has not been a journey that we have traveled alone. It's been something that we have had partners along the way. And so we find it important that we take this moment to recognize them tonight while we're here, and take a moment, especially those that contributed to our Hispanic Youth Fund, our Port Hedges LLP, Phi Iota Fraternity, State Farm, the State Farm Foundation, but also individual agents across the state and across the country, many of them are NHI alumni who contributed from their businesses to making it possible or more accessible for students to participate this summer and last summer. The University of the South, Sewanee, who is becoming a partner, we had some students from the Southeast, and that year participation was made possible by an investment from Sewanee. St. Francis University in the Pittsburgh area, many of our students from the Northeast benefited from the investment from St. Francis University, and we're looking forward to doing some more work with them in the future. And on the West Coast, we had a new partner this year join us and invest in a lot of the students in the West Coast, and we're already in talks about the future, the University of California at Berkeley. We also want to thank our student recognition donors for their generosity. As we mentioned, there will be some trophies coming your way. Those of you that are recognized this evening for your achievements, Centerpoint Energy, Bob and Christina Tusini, the Thorson family, Umberto and Carmen Sain, and some others that contributed specifically to making sure that student recognition was made important even in the digital space. We want to thank our West Texas State Farm Creo Support Network, Andrew Hernandez, Heidi Duoma, Tony Villarreal in particular, Julian Guerra, Benjamin Villarreal, Creo, and Tommy Rosales, another organization here in the state of Texas that stepped up, especially in a very uncertain time, to continue this work moving forward. And many thanks in this year in particular to our alumni. The organization, as many of you spoke about, has been around over 4 decades, and our alumni now who have their own children, who are now leaders in their community and looking to the future and want to continue filling that pipeline of leaders. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Anonymous Donor. There was a family, we won't mention them, but you know who you are out there. And we thank you for your contribution, in particular, a match award that allowed us to create and raise over $120,000 to the Legacy Fund, which is a permanent fund to continue to establish a solid financial foundation for the organization. This is not so much tuition, but looking to the future and really building a strong foundation to allow us to grow and evolve. So thank you so much to all of our donors, all of our contributors, all of our partners, and our alumni, those who are also at home watching. And last but not least, we want to also recognize here, if I can find my window, our final slate of Legacy Fund donors: Garcia Hamilton and Associates, Cabrera Capital Markets, Lori Palacios, Nancy Rocha, Ibelis Rodriguez Simon, Veronica Flores, Alex Aguirre, Eric Stern, and thank you very much to the NHI Alumni and Board Fundraising Committee. And we just cannot thank you enough. And we know that you're already working to challenge yourselves to take this to the next level, even in a normal year. So thank you so much for all the efforts this year in that work. And so now we are going to continue with a special slate of awards. But before we do that, I want to just pause and thank one opportunity. And if I can have my co-producer here at Maxwell help me by spotlighting these individuals. Thank you for your time. I know some of them may have had to run, but if you're here, our finals judges, first up, Roy Nieto, president of SureScore. Thank you, Roy, for always.
Julio, you muted yourself.
We want to thank you very much for that. We want to thank Roy Nieto. I know he had to run, so I'm not sure if he's logged in, but Roy, thank you so much for your contributions and for participating with us today as a judge. Thank you there from Austin. There he is. Roy was a big leader, especially for starting the CWS. So in a few years, those of you that participate in CWS and that whole baseball theme, a lot of that came from Roy's time working here at the Institute. Thank you, Roy, for being a finals judge and for everything that you do. Next up, Isabella Bali from Laredo, Texas, our undergraduate volunteer, representing a lot of those CLNers and undergraduates out there who continue working with us, even virtually. Thank you so much, Isabella, for your work in the Athenaeum and also for being a finals judge. Next up, Luis Jauregui, former JFL intern here from the Midwest. Luis, there at the mansion, we know you miss it. We know you want to be back here with the barbecue in Texas. Thank you for your work in the Midwest. Congratulations on the graduation from graduate school. And we know that you're going to continue being a very strong leader in the organization, especially in your home of Summit and in the Midwest. And last, our final judge, Cristina Rodriguez Tusini. We just recognize you and your family for your contributions that you made to our efforts, but we know that as an educator, as a professor, as an alum, You bring so much new energy to the organization, to our board, to our faculty, and to the NHI Alliance in Houston. So thank you. And we know that you're nervous as your son is starting the LDZ this week, and you're going to be waiting to hear the results of his work. So thank you, Christina. We're glad that you got to be here on a day of travel, waiting to hear what's going to happen in the California LDZ. So thank you so much. If my producer here can help me continue, we have some other individuals we want to recognize before we wrap this thing up. Our Zoom room managers from the Midwest and also trained and worked with the East Coast region, Sophia Haudegi. That's right, if you saw a similar name there. Sophia Haudegi. Let's see if we can pull her up there. She may actually be in the tab room, but Sophia, Luis is, there she is. And one thing about this family is that they are actually one of the first families of NHI Illinois, NHI Midwest. Sophia and Luis's father was one of our first NHIers from the state of Illinois, and now they are continuing to build their own legacy up there. Thank you, Sophia. Also, Ana Acosta Ruiz, who was our tournament director. There she is. She's actually not too far from my hometown, logged in from Philadelphia. She's a graduate student and graduated from Drexel University. So she's a very, very busy, STEM person up there in Philly. And she decided to, take a couple days from her summer to be with you and tabulate your scores and put this tournament together. So thank you so much, Annie, and for the work that you do in Puerto Rico and working with the students there and continuing our work in La Isla del Encanto. Thank you so much, Annie. Our assistant tournament director right here from Austin, Jacob Mitchell. And if we can also spotlight Julian Hernandez from the East Coast. Thank you to our two assistant tournament directors who worked side by side with Annie this week in the tab room. There they are. Thank you both so much. Thank you for your work. Director of Judges, Sofia Boyar, also from the East Coast. We know the Boyar family very well and starting to establish their own family legacy. 3 Boyaras have participated so far this summer. She was logged into CWS early in the week, then came back here, and she'll be logging in again. So thank you, Sophia. Our Athenium directors, Isabella and Luis, we just recognized them again. So thank you so much. We could not have done it without you, and to all the JFLs, all the volunteers, even those that participated for just one round, thank you so much for your contributions, and we will look forward to next year having you back again, either here at GDX or in person at Great Debate, judging rounds and training students and keeping this whole thing going. This next segment, before we get to those second and first place, there's a special award that is part of the GDX Great Debate experience that we don't want to miss, that we always want to center, and that is our Most Improved Award. This experience, NHI programs, they are about winning, and we do have recognition, and we do find that important, and trophies and certificates. They're important. We don't devalue that. But what we value sometimes more is growth, is improvement, is seeing a person on that trajectory, on that forward trajectory of every day, every week, every year, they advance, they improve, they refine how they're working, their behaviors, their habits. And so this is our Most Improved Award. But first, I want to recognize, I know that they're not logged in today because many of the coaches were traveling to the LDZ. In Corpus Christi this year, we had an interim as a lot of families are growing, and we have some new NHIers being born in Corpus Christi. So this year, a lot of the leadership was really in the hands of the staff, Jezebel Villarreal, Kate Jones, Lauren Porter, and so many more. A lot of juniors from Corpus Christi came together and really ran this team, but they collectively decided that this year's Most Improved from Corpus Christi is none other than Gabriela Perez. So if we can spotlight Gabriela, she's the definition of fundamental number 5, engaging with enthusiasm and rigor, and she overcame a lot of obstacles with great tenacity. So congratulations, Gabriela, and that award comes to you from your coaches there in Beachtown, Corpus Christi. So congratulations. Next up, the East Coast. But although we started calling it Coast to Coast because we had a end of season merger between some students on the West Coast and students on the East Coast. And that organization was led by our project administrator, who's based out of the Bronx, New York, Stephen Hernandez. Stephen, if you're there, we'd like to spotlight you. Thank you so much, Stephen. We know you've been logged in all summer with all the GDXs, and you're playing a big role in helping put LDZX together. We cannot thank you enough. Stephen and his team, they said that when building a team of students, you see a lot of diversity, not just in culture, but in personality. And this student started quiet and was in the background and attending by the recommendation of a friend, but she decided to make it her own and a name for herself. And she became more engaged, and internalize the concept of building equity by building up and supporting her peers with her go-to slogan. So NHI Familia, please help recognize from Oakland, Illinois, the most improved student that actually trained with the Coast to Coast team, the most improved for the Coast to Coast team, named the Unconventional Coalition, Fernanda Cabrera. So Fernanda, if you're there, congratulations for being the most improved from the Coast to Coast team. It's fitting that someone there from the middle of the country brought these two coasts together. Thank you. Our next region, again, a place I talk about has a very special place in my heart, has been a part of the state of Texas where my little girl has been spending most of her summer. In fact, this year, improving her Spanish, eating spicier food, dancing a lot more, and that is El Paso, Texas, that has so much history with NHI, in particular in the Great Debate, years of champions, years of outstanding members. And this year, our coaches, we cannot thank Christina Lee and the team of coaches in El Paso for all the work that you've put together there in El Paso, and led by our project administrators, Tracy Navarre. Thank you so much, Tracy. We see you there. We don't know if Dr. Katrina Garza, if you're online, we'd love to spotlight you too. These two moms are part of that history and tradition of NHI, where it's not just the students, but the whole family gets involved in investing in leadership. And they decided that they had a tie this year. They just could not make up their mind. And they decided that both of these students shown massive growth over the past 3 days. And, oh, I lost my note here. Okay, and these past 3 days, these individuals have shown so much growth. Jennifer started day one as a shy participant, but today is super confident. And Sarah showed up every day with great enthusiasm, had a great attitude about learning during every single round. Our most improved from El Paso is Jennifer Chung and Sarah Gathers. So Sarah and Jennifer, congratulations to you. Okay, we don't have them on, or we know that not all the cameras are up and available to you. So congratulations at our Paso team, if you can share our congratulations with them. Now this next region is new to the GDX this year, and they came in strong. They came with some leaders who have been very, very active members of the organization in a variety of different capacities. And this year we gave them the challenge of, how about you start a region? And how about you get a GDX team going? And they always are willing to say yes, whatever it takes, more leaders, that's what we're about. Head coach Paul Morales and the two project administrators, Choche Cruz, Maria Jose Cruz, and Gabriela Morales. Choche, who's on our board and has been the education director of our LDZ Las Americas for several years in Panama. Gabriela Morales, who was a longtime director of the NHI Villanova University East Coast Leadership Service Center. Gabby spent a lot of time developing a lot of our communities in the East Coast when she was there in the East Coast with us. And then now she's back in Mexico. And the two of them said, hey, we want to continue expanding the leadership in Mexico. And they decided that they wanted to honor this individual. She's been an amazing participant that has completely come out of her shell. During her first mock trials, she was completely surprised by the team and has only kept improving since then. And above all, she has always had the best attitude towards any challenge she faced along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, our most improved from Mexico, Leslie Escartin. There she is. Congratulations, and congratulations for your growth and improvement in Team Mexico. We know you're going to be a vital asset to that region and alliance of NHI Mexico and the whole organization. Next up, this team also took on a new name. They decided that they were now not just Midwest, but the Midwest Colorado Heartland team. They were a combination of students from the Rocky Mountains and from the Midwest, and they decided that their NHI Heartland and their most improved will be announced in just a moment by two project administrators who are logged in. I know one is actually right next to me, and the other, Andrew Perez, if you're there. The project administrators of Andrew Perez, Jasmine Lopez, Andrew and Jasmine, who've been working with the Midwest Great Debate at Augustana College for several summers. Andrew, who's made the Midwest his adopted home, originally from the Dallas area, but his heart pulls him to the Midwest, and he and Jasmine and the team decided that this individual, when she first joined the weekly meetings, she was shy, she was quiet, and after working week after week, she began to come out of her shell. Seeing her confidence flourish was amazing, even with last-minute partner changes that shook everyone up. She excelled in everything she did, had fun while doing it. We cannot be more proud of all her accomplishments, and that most improved from the Midwest heartland is JD Luis. JD, thank you so much for all your energy, and we recognize all of your efforts. Next up is North Texas. We know that a lot of the team was not able to make it right now. They're streaming most likely from Austin College, from the Texas LDZ. But when I spoke to the head coach today, Bella Rodriguez, Jovahana Avila, Samantha Cortez, George Rodriguez, the team up there in the Dallas, when I spoke to them online, they said, this individual joined our alliance a little late in the season, but she had drive, and she had drive to train, and she wanted to embrace the preparation process fully, and therefore the North Texas GDX tournament most improved is Kaylee Helms. So Kaylee, congratulations for being the most improved and being that symbol of growth for North Texas, the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we, of course, just heard you share some of your ideas and some of your words, so congratulations. And next up, we go down south, past Mexico, past close to South America, to where NHI is in the tropical area, right there connecting the northern and the southern parts of our hemisphere in Panama, that connected community, that place that brings worlds together. And in Panama, there's annually an LDZ that takes place, and the great debate has been a long tradition there now for over 10 years. Last year, they got together, formed a team for GDX, did exceptionally well, and they're back at it. We cannot thank Aldair Olmos. Aldair, if you're logged in with this, we want to, of course, recognize you, Aldair, and the whole team there in Panama for everything they're doing. They're actually in school right now. So they have been doing this in the middle of their school year, taking time out of class. And of class, I think I saw Bianca Ortega there and some of the directoras of the schools there in Panama. Thank you for continuing to support NHI, especially we know how unique this year has been. This year's most improved from Panama was a really shy person. She had always been so worried about the competition, but at the beginning, during the trainings, she was always the one who didn't want to turn on the camera. She didn't want to speak. But after the rumble with the Northeast in Mexico, she said she couldn't do this because of internet issues. She figured out a way. She was a little nervous. She was afraid. But in the last few weeks, all of a sudden, you saw the vibe change, the attitude change, and she started to push herself. And you saw the improvements, you saw the practice, and during the rounds, she was so positive the last 3 days, even when she lost, and she got into the Elite Eight, and that's why that Panama believes that their most improved award recipient is none other than Michelle Shaw. So Michelle, congratulations for being the most improved from Panama, and congratulations to all of our most improved award recipients. So, now we arrive at some of the information I know that we have been eager to get to. And as we do that, I want to go ahead and ask, who do we really think, though, is going to win the great debate in just a few moments? There goes the chat. There goes the chat. Well, if you look at the chat, there's really no conclusion of who's going to win. So we're just going to have to announce, and we're just going to have to start taking our own tallies here. So we are going to begin with the awards for cross-examination. Okay, let's go backward here. Or not. So we're just going to skip the PowerPoint. We're just going to make sure that everyone here is listening intently. Our first is our All-State Awards. So the All-State Awards are given in every single event, and these are the students that had the overall top average in their category. In the team events, we give an All-State to a leader and an All-State to a member. So this year in cross-examination, our all-state leader from Corpus Christi, Sojun Kim. And our member, also from Corpus Christi, Liliana Science. So congratulations to our all states, Sojun Kim and Liliana Science. Congratulations, Corpus Christi, for all your work this year with all your twists and turns. You continue to produce excellence. And now our second place. Just about an hour ago, we had our final round. We had two outstanding teams, a matchup that was between Mexico and our Coast to Coast team, and are in second place. The leader, Mia Palacios from Mexico, and the member from Mexico, Ana Paula Alba, and our first place team is Juliana Stich and Adi Argawala from the East Coast, the Coast to Coast team. So congratulations, our first place in cross-examination, and to all of our cross-examination award recipients. And now we continue. In oratory. Oratory is one of our individual events where students have to produce usually a creative, it's a little bit more of a creative event. Students have to really take their thinking into the future. Usually the oratory topic asks them to think 20, 30, 40 years and shape some new content. And these students did an exceptional job, beginning with our all-state overall top average in oratory. From Panama, Saul Rodriguez. Congratulations, Saul. Yeah, I see the chat there. Let's give him some comments. Let's give him some love. Congratulations for all of your ideas. And now in second place in oratory. From Mexico, Sofia Avila. All right, congratulations, Sofia, there from Mexico. And in first place, from El Paso, Genesis Mullins.
Do I say something? I'm just so thankful. I was so surprised. I don't want to start crying, but thank you. Thank you to everybody. Like, really, this was a surprise to me.
Well, thank you to you for your words and for your inspiration. That's what it's about. And it is emotional and it is hit you hard because these experiences, they're real, right? They're fun and they're competitive. They are an opportunity, they're real growth, and it hits you in your heart, it hits you in your soul. So congratulations to you and all of our recipients in oratory. And next up, in extemporaneous speaking, these students were given a prompt. They would have 40 minutes to not just come up with a speech, but slides, a video, a presentation that was multi-sensory. And in 40 minutes, these students, I was actually in the extemp room a lot yesterday. So it was just impressive seeing how quickly they would get to work. Our all-state, from now called NHI Heartland, from the Midwest, Jenna Muriel.
Oh my God, thank you. I was not expecting that. Thank you.
Congratulations. And in extemp, our second place from El Paso, Will Chien. There we go, Will. All right, congratulations from El Paso. And if you can pull up the person next to him because they're teammates. Also from El Paso, our first place, Natalie Flores.
Thank you. I'd like to say thank you to my trainers. This was a really great experience.
Well, congratulations to you and congratulations El Paso, first and second place. Our final team event, duo, team trial. In the All-State, again, we recognize an attorney and we recognize a witness, top average. These All-States are both from North Texas. Our first, our All-State attorney from the North Texas NHI organization, Iofe Pedin. And if you can put up right there next to her, the witness All-State, Alondra Garcia. And now, in second place, we had a showdown. For those of you that were on the Twitch, always an intense round of competition with our team trial. In second place, the attorney and the witness from El Paso, Jorge Acosta and Sofia Espinosa. Congratulations on second place. A lot of hard work going back to El Paso, and if Sofia Espinosa is there as well. All right. And now our first place team in team trial from Mexico, Danny Calero and Gerardo Calderon. Congratulations, Mexico. That was the team of Danny Calero and Gerardo Calderon from Mexico. I know that we've had some connectivity challenges, so congratulations, Mexico, for your team trial. And now, Athenium. And it's a lot of students, so we may not be able to get them all, but our second place team from House Magnolia, Pod 8, the team of Alexa Hassel, Sarah Gathers, Mia Palacios, Maro Castro, and Adiel Flores. Congratulations, Pod 8. All of your teams will go towards the team competition that we're about to announce, as well as all of the global cups. And that means that our first place house is the team of Pod 2 from House Maxwell, the team of Lila Navele, Fernando Cabrera, Sofia Espinosa, Camila Rebata, and Iofi Pedin, members from Corpus, Coast to Coast, El Paso, Mexico, and North Texas. Congratulations to all of the students who did an outstanding job in Athenium, both House Maxwell and House Magnolia. Let's give everybody in Athenium, I mean, one day you put these presentations together. It's incredible, incredible. And now, beginning, we will first announce our second runner-up, third place, our third highest point gathering team. Second runner-up goes to El Paso. Congratulations, El Paso. If you can highlight our project administrator, Tracy Navad, Christina Lee. It wouldn't be a summer if El Paso didn't go home with some hardware, so congratulations to the EP. Pinkies up to everyone over there. Congratulations on second place. Second runner-up, third place at the GDX. And now, first runner-up. If for some reason the champion is not able to fulfill their obligations, the first runner-up must step in and perform those duties. Again, a hybrid team that came together. Our first runner-up, second place, goes to team now known as Coast to Coast. If you can highlight Steven Hernandez, congratulations, Steven. For all of the students, New York, Philly, DC, Maryland, Puerto Rico, California, congratulations, Coast to Coast. And our champion with over 4,000 accumulated points. Ladies and gentlemen, and if we can highlight the project administrator and some of the students, because this year's GDX4 trophy is being sent to Mexico. Congratulations, Team Mexico.
I don't know what will I. Thanks.
Congratulations, Mexico, and we look forward to a great debate, GDX tradition continuing and thriving there in Mexico. The exchange that has started years ago, especially led by our Executive Vice President and CFO here at NHI, Nicole Nieto, who was one of the first ones, said, we need to that border is what it is, but we need to cross it and we need to like make this community transnational. NHI needs to be international, it needs to be global. And on that, just a reminder that all of the points that were accumulated today and in GDX3 and GDX2 and GDX1 will all be compiled. All of the community asset projects will be reviewed. And in August, we will be announcing the winners of the Global Cups, including the overall Global Cup champion, which was the Alliance and NHI region that had the top overall average. So I'm only going to have one more final thing to share because there's some very special people that are still logged on. And I know that they're going to really bring it home, and they're really going to put the punctuation on this 3-day experience, actually this summer experience. For some of you project administrators, we've been at this for 4 tournaments. And so especially like Tracy, Stephen, Andrew, you know, that we've been at this a while, and 2 summers of doing this work. And so the one thing, we talked a lot about the fundamentals this week. Every day we had a different one. This morning we had one. And so before we log off, I was thinking, you know, what is a fundamental that I want the students to really thinking about? And it's fitting because right now we are appreciating and acknowledging you. Fundamental 8. And one thing that that fundamental says is celebrate progress as much as victory. Seek out the best in others and praise often. Allow yourself and others to learn, improve, and grow. Make corrections respectively and in an encouraging manner. And that's followed up right by the fundamental 9 known as POOF. You did it. We're here. Months, weeks of preparation, being behind a computer, the Zoom lag, the Zoom fatigue, digital school, but you made it. There's been growth. There's been learning, but none of us would be here logged in today if it weren't for the vision, if it weren't for the dreaming, if it weren't for the inspiration, if it weren't for the idea of these individuals that I'm going to introduce right now. They're logged in from their home. They're in Kyle, Texas. If I can pull them up. And I know they've been busy on Zoom calls today. They were speaking with Texas LDZ a few moments ago, and right after they log off with us, they're going to be greeting our California LDZ. But when I called them, I said, you know, Ernesto and Gloria, our co-founders, I want you, as we're in GDX4, we're at the final moment of a 4 tournament experience of communications and finding the power of your voice. I think it's fitting that the evening ends with your words. And so with that, thank you, everyone. Thank you, all those watching at home, parents, schools. I'm going to leave it to our co-founders, Ernesto Nieto and Gloria de Leon. And if you can unmute, because we don't want to miss a thing.
There. Got it?
Got it.
Okay. Sometimes I can be speechless, not often, I must say. But today, just this last couple of hours with you, looking at the finals and seeing the faces and seeing the celebration, seeing the creativity, seeing the collaboration, it's so inspiring. And I thought, you know, there was one young man in particular that came out, and I thought, gosh, this young man must be 15. And, you know, I'm 68, and I'm thinking, he knows more about the future than I do right now. And that is what NHI is about. NHI, you are mastering and developing the skills of tomorrow. And you are already collaborating on a global level. You are developing concepts and innovating and inspiring, doing and thinking in terms of larger scales. You're not just looking at your school or your backyard or your state or your neighborhood. You're thinking about what the world is going to need. You're looking at the role of women in communities. You're looking at so many things that you know, in my era, yes, we thought about those things, but it really wasn't politically correct to even express our ideas. So the freedom that you have, and it is so, it falls in line perfectly with what the great debate is all about, is why shouldn't you? Why shouldn't you have an opinion? Why shouldn't you be able to voice it? Why shouldn't you be able to write it? And not only can you write it now, you can send it around the world with media and technology. Anyone can hear your voice. As a matter of fact, as soon as this is over, Julio is going to post this. It's been streaming live on YouTube, but it'll live in eternity. Your ideas are going to live in eternity on YouTube. That is crazy. And I love it. I love that the great debate, the National Hispanic Institute, has become the vehicle of what is the future. And just this morning, I'm watching, you know, the launch of Virgin Galactica, and they're taking off into space. And Branson was talking about the fact that he got inspired back in 1969 when he saw men walking on space for the first time. 1969. That was almost 100 years ago. And now you see him going to what he was saying, the edge of space. You intellectually are reaching to the edge of space. And it's more inspiring, you know, than I can even begin to tell you. And I agree with Julio. I agree with Julio because one of my favorite lines has always been, and I've tried to inject it into the philosophy of NHI. I've always believed that you have to live your life living, doing, and presenting with the theory and the philosophy that it is our responsibility to be just as enthusiastic about the success of others as we are as ourselves. And this is why the teams are so important. This is why we ask you to work together, because it's not you winning, it is the team winning. This is about your partner winning, you know. And let's talk about competition. In the early years of the Great Debate, it was awful. I mean, it was really, you know, I felt like it was to the death, you know. There was rivalries and competition. And I'm so glad that that's not what we are anymore. That's not what I see. There's this beauty between what it is that we're learning from each other. And so I commend all of you for what we've done. And I also recognize that, I mean, I remember when I was in junior high that I had a best friend who happened to be pretty athletic. And, you know, you know how they send you out for trials and they time you for your 50-yard dash or whatever. And so they were timing us for the mile. And I was, you know, jogging right next to her. And I didn't realize until we finished that my time had become so much better just jogging around right next to her. Well, that's what we do in the Great Debate, is that you are keeping up with people who are always more confident, more aggressive, more assertive. And you know what? It just makes you better. It just makes you better. They're not trying to put you down or anything. You're just trying to be better. So I always say that the great debate is just the opportunity to make you be better coached. So I love all of you. I love what I saw. I'm so thrilled. I feel like I learned so much more today by watching you, by seeing you express, by seeing that optimism about the future. And I just want to congratulate you for being my inspiration going forward. Thank you. Ernesto?
I never know what to say after Gloria speaks. I think she covers the waterfront. It's always personally a pleasure to see old friends like Chocha and Gabby. Hello, amigas. How are you? Love you to death. Also, I'd love to see Panama involved and maintain that loyalty. I'm going to give you my version of competition. I played college basketball, and I often think about it. And I think about particular players that I played against. And what was really interesting is that after each game, somehow we would walk towards each other and shake hands and recall some of the things that went on during our game. But I learned through the intensity of the competition how to be a better ball player. You've had an opportunity to compete against a lot of great kids, and you've learned about yourself and from them. Here's what's important about competition. It's an indicator of your internal will. See, you're going to run up against moments in life in which either you do it, you step forward, or you step back. Competition prepares you to dive into the water, to take a chance, to risk and learn about yourself. Can you imagine Gloria and me organizing a national movement in 1979 without any money, any grants? We were going to organize a Latino community throughout the United States and globally. It has taken us 43 years, but that intensity has never left us. That will to win, that will to go against the odds, that will to know that good things always produce good results. So I want to leave you with that thought. The ninth grade program, the Great Debate, is only your starting point. Come to the LDZ, make a point, make it a point to come to the LDZ. It's a different experience. It deals with a different area of your development. Make it a point to come to the CWS. It's the same thing. And here's the other thing I want you to do. There are several mentors that have been pictured here from the Midwest, from New York, from Mexico, and parents from El Paso and so forth. They are your examples of your continuity. If they give back, you learn to give back. I can tell you that I love giving back to my community. It brings me a profound sense of victory, a profound sense of gift, of generosity, and impacting the lives of other people. It's just not about our careers and how much money we make or who we marry. It's not just about that or what title we carry. That's unimportant. You're not going to take it to your grave. You know what you're going to take to your grave? Your reputation and your deeds. People will long remember the goodness in you. So be good to humanity through NHI. God bless all of you. Thank your parents for trusting us. Thank you for trusting us. And we look forward to continuing this relationship like Gabby and Chochi for the years to come.
And we'll see you next year, God willing. And also, I was going to tell you that if you think it's just Ernie and Gloria that hang out and contribute and participate, you know, in your great debate right now, my grandniece, Alondra Garcia, was one of the competitors. She's part of the North Texas team, but she lives in Austin. My other grandniece is a junior counselor at the California LDZ. Our other granddaughter, Mia, is at the California LDZ as a participant. Another granddaughter is a senior counselor at the California LDZ. So we give back, you know, we have to give back, you know, and we do it willingly. It's part of our life, it's part of our family, and we hope that you see it as an opportunity for you to do it too.
Thank you very much. We'll see you later. Julio, thank you. Great job.
Thank you all. Congratulations. The Discord will remain open. We want to see you there. We want to hear where you're going to LDZ. We want to share some music. We'll keep it going tonight. I know as we turn on here in Maxwell, we're going to be in the music lounge. So congratulations to all of you. Thank you, parents. Thank you, partners. Thank you, sponsors, mis colegas, interns, and all of the NHIers that might be streaming from all the LDZs and CWSs. Thank you so much. Have a great evening and a great rest of the summer. We'll be in touch later.
There you go. Okay, until we are done. Hold on.